Good boy, good girl, yes.
Okay, now
Okay.
stand it because
No, because he
he's
can't
gonna
jump.
fall
He
off.
can't jump. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
He's
Yeah,
gonna fall down.
he's gonna fall down. Now sit, sit.
No, he doesn't.
See, she's cool. Her, I don't need to.
There we go. Ah.
You see what this idiot did? And this one too. Fuck. Cut, 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 cut it. Director say cut it. Bastard dog. Happy's like, Happy's like, what the fuck are we doing? Good girl. Always you in my videos, but this asshole, I don't know. Let's see. Good girl. Yes. Yes. Good girl. Yeah. 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 That's my girl. Okay. Now let's see. Hey guys, how's it going? Okay, this is gonna be my wrap up from Capital Audio Fest. I'm gonna try not to make it too long. It's gonna be the usual video, pictures with some captions on top. Um, yeah, it was my idea to put the dogs in here, but that's okay. So day one was Wednesday night. I got there, met Jared and Jamie, transferred some boxes from Jamie's truck to the U-Haul that Black Ice had, and then we went out for a little bit. Day three was, or sorry, Thursday was unbox everything, get everything to the rooms they needed to be in. Endow Audio, Black Ice Rooms, Zoo Audio, which were across the hall from us. And as far as setting up the rooms, I stayed out of the way. I drank my scotch, watched them do all the work, and life was good. Second day, it was Friday. Kurt and I went and visited as many rooms as we could on the 6th, 7th, and 8th floors. We checked out a couple of the mega rooms downstairs on the first floor. So that was pretty cool. Um, did the usual routines. Caught up with the Gershmans as usual. Their room always sounds awesome. Um, met the chorus. Thanked them for saving audio research. And again, the three rooms that he had his speakers in, I didn't go to the one with the two-way towers. I missed that one. I did go to the one with the little bookshelves, and I also went to the big room on Sunday. I was let out of the cage on Friday and Sunday, but Saturday I had to work the hallways. Sean Casey, who I hardly knew, we kind of got to know each other kind of sort of pretty good. Because he was out there for about 3 hours working the hallways, as was I. You know, tons of people coming up to him asking him questions. A lot of his customers, some of his customers have been with him since the very beginning. So that I thought was pretty cool. And when the Black Ice Zoo room would be full, we'd send them over to the Black Ice second zoo room, which was always full as well, but we kind of alternated. So that was pretty good. Jamie and Jared did a hell of a job setting up the rooms and all that stuff. It was a lot of work. Again, all I did was help bring boxes down from the U-Haul up to the various rooms. Endow audio room sounded pretty good. I know they had Leo stuff up in their rooms as well, so I think some customers wanted to hear the tubes, other customers wanted to hear the GAMFED amps, so and that's fair. That's fair. And so that was basically how all that went down. The hallways was very crazy at times, and other times it was absolutely nobody there. When Sean was inside DJing, Garrett, his right hand man, came out and worked the hallways, and I got to know him a little bit. He's kind of like my allergy brother, it turns out. So, and then you had the usual celebrity sightings. You know, funniest thing was Steve Guttenberg was standing right beside me, all masked up and everything else. I didn't say nothing to him. What am I gonna say? It's like I watch his channel like a crack addict. I don't agree with 80% of what he says, and that's okay. Everybody's got the right to do that, right? But I don't know what to talk to him about, how to talk to him about it. But there was one lady that came up to him that was a real fanboy, and he was really cool about it. He said thank you for watching the channel and all that stuff. And I think I saw Herb Reichert in the lobby, but up on the seventh floor where we were, all the usual suspects showed up. What's his name from Z Reviews, right? I forget the guy's name. The big guy, with the helmet cam on his head. He was there, and everybody was kind of flocking all around him. It was kind of a seriously kind of scary vibe. Um, Saw Fremer walk up and down the hallway. Again, you guys know my story from last year's CAF, or CAF or Florida, one of the two, where I could he wouldn't let me do the video, so I'm like, you know what, dude, whatever. Saw Randy maybe for all us 5 seconds, but I don't really know the guy personally. And again, I watch his channel too, but I don't really particularly agree with a lot of the stuff he does on there. And that's cool, whatever. Um, what else? What else were the big highlights? It's kind of weird. You go to these audio shows, and for me, it's more of a social thing. But once in a while, you'll walk into a room, and you go, "Holy shit! Wow, that was amazing." I will say one thing. I went. Dual Mission and Audio Lab were on the same floor as us, and since Thursday when we were setting up, I saw the signs. They were right around the corner from us. I just didn't have a chance to get in there. When I was with Kurt on the Friday, I knew he wouldn't be interested to go in there, and I kind of wanted that to be more his day because I knew my day was going to be on Sunday, you know. So, and Kurt also let me go into some rooms that I wanted to, but mostly, I wanted it to be about him. So I go into the dual room Sunday morning. That was my first stop, and I ran into the reps there, and I saw the turntables, and I told the guys, I says, if you guys weren't building your tables in China, I wouldn't have bought the MoFi table last year, the studio deck and all that. That's the only reason I didn't. I saw the Andrew Robinson review. I saw a couple of the in print reviews, and but I go back to my 23-year-old dual CS515 that I had. Again, plastic case, didn't look as nice as the new tables do, right? Because again, plastic was in. It was the 80s. Um, so, and I talked to the guys, and what they've done with their latest their top of the line turntable is made in Germany, but the rest of the model lines are done in China. And what they did with that was they got the 3-point gimbal bearing tone arm of the 1970s in your dual 1229s, 1219s, and so forth. And they kind of adapted it, modernized it, for this day and age. You don't have those stupid sleds anymore on the head shells, and the head shells are still interchangeable. If this turns out sounding like a dual review, a little bit of it is, but it didn't really float my boat, because it is made in Germany. Sorry, the top of the line one. The rest are made in China. Well, I said to the guy, if you guys bring back this dual CS 5000 in all its glory, the same one that I saw in 1987 in the magazine print reviews and all that, I'll sell my LP12, Lingo, Benz Micro, all that stuff, just so I can get that table. And I meant it. I really, really meant it with those guys. It's got to be belt drive, made in Germany, all nicely high standards, the same tone arm that was on that thing, you know. Um, and they said I wasn't the first one to walk into that room and ask for the same request. So who knows? There could be a CS 5000 reborn in the next year to 2 years. I'm definitely going to keep an eye out on that space. And the new Mission speakers do sound phenomenal. I mean, the whole Audio Lab dual turntable Mission thing, it's not a marriage made in hell. It's actually a marriage made in heaven, And so, I stayed in that room, I think, the longest. From there on Sunday, where else did I go? I'm trying to think because everything was a bit of a whirlwind tour. I went down to the Maggie room, met the guys over there, and don't worry, I think the open baffle base cabinets are a dead deal now. They're basically the guys said we're not going into the subwoofer business. They've obviously refreshed the line, the LRS pluses, and a few other things that they had going on. They had a room. I don't know which Maggie model number it was, but they were big, and they had Springsteen's Western Star playing in there, or Western Skies, sorry, and it just sounded phenomenal. And I asked the guy, "Do you have those open baffle subs set up in there? Is that why there's so much?" He says, "No, man, that's all coming from the panels. All that detail, all that bottom end, all that beautiful mid range, it's all coming from the speakers. There's nothing else going on." I was like, "Wow." I know the price of admission for that's going to be large, so and I can't do Maggie's in my living room because I need a entranceway. I wanted to go check out the new Clayton Shaw open baffles, but unfortunately that room was even packed on the Sunday that I was walking around. Clayton was outside in the hallway. He was talking to somebody, so I just flashed him a quick hello, and he did the same back. But I saw that it was kind of a packed house, and rightfully so. So missed that one. Hopefully, I'll be able to check it out in Dallas. I'm not doing Florida, guys. I'm gonna do Dallas with Black Ice and a few other manufacturers, but I don't think I'm gonna be doing Florida this year. That's gonna be 2 shows too many, too tightly packed together. Plus, remember, when I go to these shows, I'm basically flipping. I'm going on my own dime, right? And that dime's getting pretty thin lately. The only shopping I did was, I bought the Asia 45 RPM. I actually got a deal on it. I didn't pay list, but he gave me a deal on it because I also at the same time bought the Steely Dan Pretzel Logic SACD analog productions. I'll let you guys know in another video how that all went. Let's see, what else did I do? Went down to the big Acora audio room with the big granite. The Coras were both down there. Talked to them both. Super, super nice people, just like the Gershwins. I mean, I'm the nasty Canadian. They're what you call the really, really nice, you know, really cool people. Really cool people. And, again, this time around, as you'll see on the photos, Val had the audio research amps there because that was basically the VPI audio research room. So the speakers were there as a nice to have. So because it was their room and not Acora Audio's room, they basically had to, whatever equipment was supplied, that was it. So they had the big bar refrigerator sized audio research amps, and they lit up Val speakers very nicely. I would have loved to heard Val speakers in Toronto with the D'Agostino. I forget if they were the Continuums or the whatever, the monoblocks. That would have been cool. And went up and saw Leo up on the 8th floor. The Endow Audio had the same bookshelf set up in one room, and the tower set up in the other room, which as usual they sounded pretty good. Foot traffic, So here's another thing. So I told you about the Wednesday, the Thursday, the Friday. So the Saturday after I was let out of the cage, God bless Roy Hall, and I was gonna kill Boris Friday morning. So I run into Boris, and Boris, who did the amplifiers, that's his design. He's also now representing Adcom, which of course is made in Taiwan, but distributed by a guy in New Jersey, Boris. Before, Adcom was a company making this stuff in New Jersey and sending it all over the world. Anyhow, so hey Joe, how you doing? Good, good. Boris, how's things? You still working with Roy? He says, oh, you didn't hear? I said, what? Roy passed away. And my whole fucking everything was just like, when my old man kicked the bucket last year, I'm like, yeah, whatever, his time was coming. But again, you just hung out with the guy a year earlier, and he was in, It was a fucking joke, and he had me going for a full minute, right? And he saw the look on my face was like genuine sadness and disbelief, like, it wasn't like, yeah, whatever. So when the joke was up, comes Saturday, and I see Roy in the hallway on the seventh floor because their room was also on the seventh floor, but around the corner. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Garrett's out in the hallway. I'm out in the hallway. Roy comes and I go in. I just block the whole hallway. Roy, you're alive. Okay. Hey, Joe. Come on, son. Let's go for a drink. Come on now. Like holding my hand like I'm a little kid, right? Well, he wasn't holding my hand, but you know what I mean. And Roy, I can't. I gotta stay out here. No, no, come on. I said, Roy, I can't. I'll be there though. An hour passes and it's around 4 o'clock, and things are starting to slow down in the hallway because everybody's getting ready to go for dinner and stuff. Um, so I said to Jared, Jared, do you really need me in the next hour? Because I want to go over to Roy's and have a drink. He's, yeah, yeah, go. It's okay. It's okay now. It's starting to cool down. And I did that. I went over to Roy's room, and Boris is there, and so there was about that much left in the bottle, so I managed to get a shot and a half out of it. I forget the name of the single malt scotch. My apologies, Roy. A lush is a lush. Me, not Roy, me. And then we get kicked out of Roy's room by Tom Martin from the Absolute Sound and Boris, because I guess he wanted to do an article on both Amped and his involvement in AdCom. And I got to admit, the AdCom stuff, it still looks as pretty as it did 30 years ago or 40 years ago for that matter, you know. But so then Roy and I continued the discussion outside in the hallway. And then he says, Joe, I got to get going. I says, no problem, man. And I darted back to the black ice room for 5 o'clock. And because I think, oh, that's right, because we had a visitor coming into the room that we had to get ready for. And then I think it was Jamie's birthday was on Friday, so we got a little bit shit-faced Friday night. I was okay Saturday morning, though. But I'm not really into the music that... so Jared is only 2 years younger than me. Jamie is like 10 years younger than me. And both of them like all that club stuff and dance stuff. And I'm like, it was never my thing when I was, a kid or in my early 20s, Different crowd, I guess, right? So, anyhow, Saturday night after dinner, we did Korean barbecue 2 nights in a row, which was pretty awesome. Uh, so we did the dinner Saturday night with Sean, Garrett, Jared, Jamie's wife Danielle, myself, Ken from he's a distributor for soda turntables here in the U.S. So Ken says, Joe, you're coming over Saturday, right? I says, yeah, yeah. So after dinner, we took off for his place, and he's got this cool dual motor Tesla Model S, I guess it is. It's the bigger Tesla, and it's the ludicrous version. So we were having some fun with it because he knows where all the radar cameras are, right? So we get to his place, and he's got a beautiful single malt, or just a Scotch room, and a beautiful. And so yeah, pours me a drink. And again, the pictures will be in the video. We were, he played the usual. We played some digital so we could warm the tubes up in the preamp that he's using. He's using a Doshi amplifier. He's using Angela Gilbert Young's preamplifier and power supply. He's also using a Doshi phono preamp. The speakers, I forget the name of the company, but they're in the pictures that I took. Obviously, a Soda turntable, and I forget the turntable on steroids that he had that he was also playing some tracks on I forget the name of the manufacturer, but it was so cool. Um, So we played some of that, and then he asked me, okay, well, he's got a cool LP collection. His tastes are very similar to mine. A lot of prog rock, a lot of classic rock, a lot of jazz, the usual suspects, plus some obscure stuff. And so one of the things that stood out to me was the Bill Evans Trio album. You know, the one, the brown background with Bill Evans' face on the front. I forget the name of it. Everybody knows it. But anyways, so he had the 45 RPM one step of that. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Then he played for me. He's got a 50-year-old original US pressing of Fragile. So we played Heart of the Sunrise on it, and clean as a whistle, and just absolutely phenomenal sound coming. And these were electrostatic panels with a super tweeter mounted on the outside edge of each panels. Excuse me. Then we went into what Ken calls his playroom. So in his playroom, he's got a pair of what he calls the Sonus Faber, when they used to make good sounding speakers. Sonus Fabers, they're small bookshelves on stands. But then he's also got a 5-input phono preamp, which is like a reviewer's dream, because you can have the same loading on all 5, right? If you're just going to swap out turntables and use the same cartridge, right? Or you could A/B turntables at your will. It's you know, for a reviewer, it's perfect. So we listened to he had a second pressing of Asia, which he said actually sounds better than the first pressing. It's not the Japanese one. And I said, but I bought it. And I says, no. Just listen to this. You know, it maybe not be a good reference because it's 2 bookshelves and 1 subwoofer, but it filled the room very nicely. And he did one cool little party trick where he took an old Decca cartridge with a spherical stylus, which sounds like a recipe for disaster. Oh, yeah, so Ken did the party trick, and he put the spherical stylus, the Decca cartridge, and he played the first track off of Asia, and lots of bass impact, lots of, you know, it sounded really good. So he also did another party trick because he can change head shells on the arm that he's using in his playroom, so to speak. So he switched to Audio Technica OC9, and then against, I think it was Hannah. It's a Hannah. He swapped it out with a Hannah Blue, I believe. $2,500 cartridge against a $600 cartridge, and the similarities were stunning. So if anybody's looking for a budget moving coil cartridge, I heard the OC9. It's a winner. What else? So yeah, I went to Ken's house on the Saturday night. Had a good time there. I got back with the lift. The lift took me back to the hotel. It was already 3 a.m. by that point, and yet for 4 hours I slept like a rock. I got up. I met Percy over at Praiseworthy Audio Speakers for 8 a.m. with Ty. Did the 2 videos which you guys already saw. And like I said, made my rounds, got on the plane and went home. I met Mike Allen again. On Sunday morning, I said bye to the Black Ice guys, and Mike was in the room, and I thanked him for letting me be part of the team and all this stuff. So that's the wrap up. Hopefully my editing doesn't make this thing too boring and bland. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.